Hey friends, welcome back to our third episode in this week's leadership development series, which is all about developing strong regional leadership skills. We are, of course, taking our teachings from Jim Sullivan's book, Multi-Unit Leadership. Such a terrific read. If you haven't picked up a copy, I strongly recommend it. This week we're talking about principle number 3, or characteristic number 3, that Jim finds kind of in his assessment of multi-unit leaders the world over. The third practice that he talks about is servant leadership, and I have a lot of love and a lot of heart for the servant leadership approach. I think working at Starbucks when I was a regional manager there under Howard Schultz. I was there during his kind of big turnaround tenure. Obviously, Howard Behar, a really big servant leader advocate within the Starbucks organization. But this is where it really came to life for me, the importance of bringing that servant leadership style to your regional leadership practice. And there's three things, there's a bunch of things that really resonate with me about servant leadership in the context of being a regional leader. But there's three things I'm going to touch on today that really stood out from Jim's book. So first and foremost is about building a culture of kindness. I think this is wildly important in today's world. So I think we can all agree that coming out of COVID-19 was a very, very difficult time for many, many people. I think lockdowns and taking kids out of school and that lack of social interaction had a really profound impact on how people are feeling these days. And there's a great book, The Happiness Advantage by Shawn Achor, also just a phenomenal read about the science of happiness. Anyway, so he talks about, kind of his 7 principles to how you achieve great happiness in life. And the one that he puts above all others is social connection, and how important that social fabric is to our happiness. So why does this matter when it comes to a culture of kindness and servant leadership and the multi-unit leadership role specifically? Well, I think there's a lot of multi-unit leaders out there that work in the retail and hospitality sectors, and those sectors happen to employ a lot of youth and young adults, so kind of like 15 to 24 years old. And this demographic, if you're paying attention to all the research, there's been some fascinating studies that have just come out, one from Health Canada, one from Harvard Health, and one from the World Health Organization, that this group specifically, the 15 to 24-year-olds, have seen the biggest decline in overall mental health and wellness, and rates of depression skyrocketing upwards of 40% to pre-COVID levels. So that's the why. That's why this really resonates with me, that we need to build a culture in our regions and in our stores that lean into kindness, that lean into appreciation and recognition and positivity and social connection, and really making sure that we have stores and regions in our organizations that are really just kind, fun, positive places for kids to come to work these days, because they need it. The other thing that I think really why this really resonates with me, and I'm just going to go off on a bit of a Gen Z tangent here, but these again are the folks that are working in the hospitality and retail industry. Oftentimes it's their first job. Because these guys have spent so much time, they're referred to as digital natives. They grew up with like smart technology in their hands. And they look at in-person interaction, in-person connection as actually their escape from the digital world. Whereas the older generations were inverse. We go online for our escape from kind of the real world. So these kids are really different. So making sure that experience they're going to have in our stores and in our region is positive and fun and kind, and where you as the leader really invest in them and taking care of them and making sure that they feel really good about the moments and the time that they spend working in your business. So culture of kindness, really, really important from a servant leadership perspective. Number 2, he talks about the importance of inspiring a shared vision. And if you joined me in one of my first series where I was talking about leadership, I spent a lot of time talking about this skill of inspiring a shared vision, because it really, really is important, especially at the regional level. Oftentimes you'll have, between 8 and 12 business units under you. You could have hundreds of team members that work in that region, and finding a way to inspire the vision amongst your team, to bring people with you. That is a real skill worth developing, because if you can connect the purpose and the vision to every single level within your business units, to every single person that works in your region, if you can connect that vision and inspire them to come with you on that journey, oh my gosh, things are going to be funner. The results are going to be funner. I'm not even sure if that's a word. Things are going to be really fun. You're going to get great results coming out of your region if you can just really lean into how do you translate that vision and inspire the folks that work in your region to help you get there. And then the third thing around servant leadership that I really gravitate towards Jim's teaching is really about fostering collaboration and embracing change. Because, man, to be an effective regional leader, you got to collaborate. You've got to, be able to take all of the best practices that you see happening in certain parts of your region and, help those best practices cross into different stores in different parts of your region, then ultimately into different parts of the organization or into other regional leaders' practice. Strong collaboration skills are wildly important in the regional role. You act as the regional leaders are kind of in this interesting spot in the organization where all of the big departments that work above them, so it's marketing, it's operation, maybe you're in the restaurant world, so it's menu creation, it's human resources, all these different departments need things to happen at the business level. They're building programs, systems, and tools to unlock a brand experience in the business unit. And they need to work with the regional leaders in the organization to understand, how are things going on the front lines right now? How's the complexity? Is it a good time to introduce a new offering or a new promotion or a new menu item? Based on how the system is feeling, they can really help enhance how those program systems and tools are received and acted upon at the individual business unit level. But it takes strong collaboration skills to be able to work up at that level, to give feedback, to offer guidance and direction and perspective, but then take that vision and then bring it down and translate it in a way that inspires action in the store. So being a strong collaborator is super important. I'm thinking that I might do a short video series on collaboration skills because it is one of the most important leadership skills you can develop. So that's my take on servant leadership. A bit of a longer video today because this is where my purpose and passion for leadership comes from. It's really about kind of these industries like retail and hospitality and restaurants where folks are going to work for the first time. It's going to be their first job. It's their first exposure to leadership in a work setting. And man, I just think we could make the world a bit of a better place if we just had really good leaders working in those positions so that these kids are experiencing what great leadership looks like right from the get-go. So that's my leadership rant for today. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Take care.